All right. So what we're driving towards is we're trying to create a text file that will be comma separated that we can then copy the data and then paste it into this MyOpenMath field for linear regression and correlation or for histograms. So right now, this is only one random variable, one column's worth of data. And this is the text file that I copied and pasted into that MyOpenMath problem. So the question is, how do we start from a spreadsheet in Google Sheets and export the data into a text file so that it looks like that? So that's what I'm going to show you. All right, so let's say the random variable that we want is this height variable, so column E. So the first thing we need to do is make a copy of this data. So remember, this is the raw data. We don't ever want to delete this or change it or alter it, but we want to make a copy. So what I'm going to do is left click on this triangle and choose duplicate. And so now this new spreadsheet tab has been created that says copy of raw data. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click this, double left click, and I'm going to rename it to be maybe, let's call this height only. So height, comma, only. So this is going to be the height random variable only. Okay. All right. So we've got this height only tab. And what we want to do now is delete all the other columns. So if I left click on this column and I hold down the shift key and I left click on this column speed, it will select all the columns in between. And then I can right click one of these columns here in the header, and I can put delete columns A through D and left click. All right, so it deleted all those columns to the left of height. Now to deselect these, I just want to click on a cell somewhere out to the side. And now I want to delete these columns. So I'll select column B with the left mouse button, come over here to column E, hold down the shift key, and left click on column E. And that'll select all of the columns in between. Now I can go ahead and delete columns B through E and left click. And now all of those are gone. Now the last thing we need to get rid of is this first column or this first row because we don't want height and we don't want a space in there either. So we're going to left click on row 1, right click row 1, and choose delete row with a left click. And now all we have left is the one column of data that we want. This is the height data. So that was the reason why I wanted to label this spreadsheet tab earlier on, is because I knew we were going to be deleting the header at the top. Okay, so now we've got our one column. We need to export it as a text file. So you don't need to do anything special. You just go into File, Download, and then come over and go to comma separated values. So a CSV file. So I will left click that. And it's just brought up this Save As window. And I'm going to save this to my Downloads directory. And you can see it's calling it the name of the spreadsheet and then the name of the tab. So that looks fine. I'm going to go ahead and just save that into my Downloads directory, but I want to save I want to save it to that one. Okay. So now I can click save. And if I go to that downloads directory, I can see here's that comma separated value text file I just created. Now, if you're on a Windows operating system, it may associate a comma separated value text file with Microsoft Excel. So you don't want to just double click it to open it. Okay. What you want to do is you want to right click the file, choose open with, and select Notepad. And now you can see this is the text file that's in a comma separated value format. And this is only the height data, and it's in a single column. So now at this point, if you are working on the MyOpenMath histogram question, you would just need to select all. Select all, and then copy, go over to the MyOpenMath question and paste all this data into it. And that's all you would need to do. So let's end this video here, and I'll give another one on exporting 2 columns. Or you know what? I changed my mind. Let's go ahead and do 2 columns right now. I think I can compress this into one video. All right, so let's go back to the spreadsheet, and we're in the height only tab. So let's go back to our raw data. And, you can see from previously, I only wanted the height data. Now I want to be able to do 2 columns. So I want to do speed and height. So I'm going to delete all the columns to the left and all the columns to the right of the speed and height ones. So the first thing I need to do though, first, I almost made a mistake. You always want to make copies of your raw data. So I'm going to duplicate this. And before I forget, let's call this speed versus height. Like that. Okay. So now with speed versus height, I'm going to left click on the A column, left click on the C column, right click and put delete columns A through C. I'm going to click off to the side just to deselect. These are the 2 columns I want. So I'm going to left click on column C, come over to column F, hold down the shift key, left click on column F. It selects all the columns in between. Right click on any one of these and choose delete columns C through F. Okay, I've already called this spreadsheet tab speed versus height. So I can come up here and I can select row 1 and now delete that row. Now all I have is the speed column data and the height column data. So now we're going to come up to File, choose Download, and go to comma separated values. And you can see it's the naming convention it's using is the name of your file, followed by the name of the tab .csv, which means comma separated value text file. So I'll hit save. And then I can look at the downloads directory where I just saved it. And you can see here it says speed versus height. So I can right click that file, go to open with, Notepad. And now I've got 2 columns of data that are in this format. So again, what you can do is just go to edit, select all, edit, copy. And then when it comes time for you to do this MyOpenMath problem, then you would just paste paste the data into this question. And you only have to paste it in once. It is possible you don't have to paste it, but if you've got 20 data points, if you've got 100 data points, that's going to be a pain to type in. Okay, so I'm showing you a shortcut way to input your data without there being any typing errors. Okay, if you get a typing error, that's going to mess you all up. Okay, so that concludes the tutorial for exporting 1 and 2 columns out of a Google Sheets spreadsheet.